Hello, everyone. My name is Lorraine Lopez, and I was born and raised in Saguache, Colorado, which goes back 10 generations. And today I'm going to share my mother, Casimira Mondragon Garcia's Biscochito recipe. Okay, I'm going to get started here. First, I'm going to turn my oven on to 350 degrees. Warm it up while I'm getting everything else ready. I'm going to begin by, first I have 2 cups of lard, and they're going to go into the bowl. Okay. And I have 1 1/4 cup of sugar. And then I have, here I'm going to add 4 eggs. I'm going to beat these ingredients with an electric beater. And I hope it's not too loud, but I'm going to beat this until it's evenly smooth. And that's about 3 to 5 minutes. This is looking really good already. I'm going to raise it just a little bit so it goes faster. And so you can see what it's looking like. It is getting creamier, but you won't be able to see the lard that's in there, and it won't be chunky, it'll be creamy. Oh boy, it's looking really good. Look at that. See? Turn it off and stop it for a minute. I think that's a pretty good creaminess. The next thing I'm going to add is my salt and my baking powder. And let me see, I just have to kind of look at my, okay, I just need a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. You add to this. There's a 1/2 teaspoon. Then I need 6 teaspoons of baking powder. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 6. Then I'm going to add to this 2 tablespoons of vanilla.
What kind of vanilla do you use?
It's pure vanilla. And if you like vanilla, you can add more. I like vanilla, so. But you add 2 tablespoons. And then you beat these ingredients until it's creamy. And you can see how creamy it's becoming. Ooh, yeah. Oh, and by the way, you want to hear the story about how I learned to make these biscochitos. Mama used to make them all the time, especially during the holidays, Christmas. And she'd get all the ingredients, put them together, and when it comes time to make the biscochito, I'll show you how she used to do that. But
Can I ask you a question?
yes,
Can you mix your dry ingredients with your flour, like your vanilla, your baking?
I don't do that.
Uh,
I add the flour by itself. That's the last ingredient that goes in.
But I think you can either way, huh?
Yeah, I guess however people want to do it. This is
Because I usually put mine in flour.
Yes, by the way, we have the next generation. My sister who's, here being a visitor, and she also makes these biscochitos. So we both make them, learning from Mama. Yeah?
She makes me and I can eat them all in one day if I want to.
Right here is 6 cups of flour. And I'm gonna slowly add it like this because, and my recipe there I said add 1 cup at a time because this is where you're going to use your hands. And again, I'm gonna wash my hands. So here is, maybe a cup and a half. And I slowly will start because it's gonna be sticky on my hands. It's gonna be sticky, but it feels really smooth right now. And I'm gonna add a little bit more flour. I can go in here and do this. So see?
Because it's really sticky at first.
And so you can see it's real sticky in your hands. It's very sticky, but the more flour you add, the less stickiness it's going to be. Here we go. We're going to add some more. I'm going to use my thumb to pull all the flour back in. And it's becoming, as you can see, when I raise my hand, less sticky. It's feeling really good. And you can tell by the texture how much more flour you might need, if any more than this. But the recipe calls for 6 cups of flour.
Mix it up with cookies.
Okay. And the reason for, doing the flour a little at a time is that you'll be able to really know when your dough really is just right. And you can feel it by, see, it's less sticky. Really is a real simple recipe, and after a while it's like just so easy and yummy in the end. It's almost like drawing a picture and seeing the end results and tasting these delicious biscochitos. Okay, now I'm going to put this on right here, just like this. Okay, now I'm going to use both hands. Knead it until it's almost, see, you can tell by my hands that it's not sticking to my hands that much anymore.
You can tell by the dough that it's
Edit for me, please.
Okay. Cut seam. And then when you come back, you should move that salt in the paper towel.
Okay.
There you go. Okay. Okay. And tell me when.
I'll tell you when. Okay, I'm back. Now, and here is the dough. As you can see, it's pretty much off my hands. Ooh. Okay.
How long do you need it for?
Oh, I would say,
The
okay,
dough
your
is-
hands will tell you. And see my hands? They're pretty much, but I have a little bit left. I might not need it all. So I just rub some on my hands. And then I keep just kneading it. I powder my hands with flour. There you are. This baby is ready to go.
What's the texture on it?
The texture is very soft and it's smooth, and you could just put your fingers in it and it comes out clean. That's how your dough should come out. I'm going to just set this here, and I gotta clean this up for my next step. We had two steps. The first step was creaming it together. The second step was adding your dry ingredients, and then the third step was the flour. The fourth step was kneading it, and now we're gonna do the last step, and that's rolling it out so that you can start making what my mama used to call is the florecitas. And I also, I like to break it up in parts and just set it on there. And sometimes I may need flour on the bottom, but look, it's not even sticking to my table here. So I'm going to see how well this does in rolling. I might need a little bit of flour just on the rolling pin. Yep.
How many times do you think you've made biscochitos?
I have made them. How old am I? Wait, no. No, I think I've made them many moons. Let me say that, many years. I would say at least 20, 30 years. And I didn't start making them all the time until really I got to where I was able to holidays and the time. I think it all has to do with the time. Now, when you roll your dough out, maybe about a fourth to a half an inch thick, so that you can see your first batch. You can always tell how big your biscochito is going to be. So I'm going to make this first batch at this, and what I do is cut with a knife. I just go and cut my little, to begin my squares. Now, like here, I'll cut half, I'll do half, and here I could do thirds, and cut them in half and thirds, and then Mama used to cut the slits. She would slit every corner like this, and then she would push in, she would pinch in all the edges, and you have a biscochito, and you set it in your pan. I'm going to put that right there, but I'll do a few of those so that you can see, to get used to those. Pinch in, pinch each side in, pinch in. Okay, and there's your biscochito. And this is how Mama used to do them. And we'd call them the florecitas. Now, how I do it, and it's so much faster, and it still comes out of florecita, I just pinch my corners in, and I get my florecita. It's so much faster than slitting your edges. And for me, it's really fun to do. I mean, it doesn't take me long. I really enjoy making biscochitos. I enjoy eating them, but sometimes I can't eat too many. But I like my cafecito with my biscochito. And that means I like my coffee with my biscochito. Okay, there's one batch ready to go in the oven. While my biscochito's baking in there, I'm going to I just estimate. On the recipe I put 1 cup to maybe 3 tablespoons of cinnamon. But this is getting ready for when the biscochito comes out. I would say maybe this is about a cup. And sometimes you have to add to it. That's the sugar, and then you're going to have to add some cinnamon. The cinnamon here is the key. It darkens it, looks like this, and then mix it, and you can see how it's going to turn out. Your first biscochito tells you how dark it's going to be. If you need to add more cinnamon, add more cinnamon. Okay. I'm just going to add a little bit more. Okay. See, I added it like that. That's how I added it. And you can decide when you make the biscochitos how you want it done, or how dark you like your sugar, cinnamon done. Almost. It's looking really good. So I'm going to try to finish these up. Notice, I forgot to tell you, that the biscochitos came out pretty fluffy, not thin. So I think I'm going to use the same inch or the same kind of length or height that the dough that I rolled out with the first one. Of course, you can do, roll. And doing this and making those florecitas come out like they do without pinching them in with a knife takes years of practice.
20 to 30 to be exact.
Yeah, I think so. And it really is a lot of fun. I think the most fun is that you learned it from someone so special in your life and someone that taught you generations after generations. I'm not sure where Mama learned how to make these, but she, it happened. Now, and I'm so happy to have really gotten this recipe that I can pass on to my grandchildren and great-grandchildren passes it on. It's just something that's so special. Now, I'm going to go back to showing you how you can tell your cookie's done if it's brown on the bottom.
Mine too, September 30th.
Mine does 30.
Now, the next thing when they come out of the oven and they're brown like that, you have your sugar mixture, and I just put a few in there. You have your sugar and your cinnamon mixture, and I put in some biscochitos that I took out of the oven,
I'll be 84
and
September.
I brush them a little bit, and then little shake, and there's one. Just there's another, and you can just rub them on and put as much sugar or cinnamon, lightly, more if you like, whatever. Now this one came out really dark because I rubbed the cinnamon on it. So the cinnamon is the one. If you want them dark, they'll come darker. Oops. And I just, yeah, the cinnamon's pretty. But you can always take sugar off by just tapping them on the side of the bowl. Again, I'm going to show you one that's brown on the bottom. And that's when you know, because they start to finish baking when they're out, and the heat just finishes baking them as long as your bottoms are brown. Toasty and a little too brown, I take them out and just flip them over like that on a piece of, you can get some your hunter's paper or just foil. Let me put a little bit of foil so you can see what I'm talking about. Sit that right there. The reason I want to take them off right away is that if you let them sit on the pan, they get a little too dark. And you don't want, you can start tasting if they're a little too brown. The biscochito is perfect when you can't taste any burn. This will taste a little different because it's a little browner if you see it, but not burnt. And you don't want them burned. So, there. And sometimes what I'll do, if you put a real hot one in the cinnamon like this, it's bound to break. Because it's bound to break. I'm going to check this one out. They have to cool a little bit, but this one worked perfectly. And they are so soft in the middle. Yummy. Oh. That is so crunchy and so good. I better finish. I'll eat that after a while. That's so good. I think I want another bite. Hold on. I'm not kidding. I do always taste the first one. Always, when I bake, I always taste the first one. I used to give my brother Pete the first one. He was the one who would tell me, it's good. Okay, here you go. See? And if your dough is just right, they don't break on you. They won't break on you. When you're mixing them, when you're putting them in the cinnamon, that's what I have found many years of baking these, that it's all a matter of you practicing, getting better at it. It's just like my mother, I'm sure she was an expert. But for me to learn how to do this, what she did is she was an expert at it. It took years for her. I really don't know where she learned to make biscochitos. Maybe her mom or my grandma. So this is the end results of the biscochitos that I made today, and I want to thank you for coming to my kitchen and being part of something that happened many, many years ago. And I just want to say, Happy Cinco de Mayo.